Hello all, good day. Today Fayaz and myself Sevanti, we will be presenting about the environmental impact of aviation, analysis of its causes and the methodology to estimate the final emissions of pollutants, how much aviation sector and UAE is contributing to the sustainability development goals, and we have taken two countries as benchmark. One is Singapore and the second one is UK, where the air quality index is really good. So based on these comparison, a solution is proposed along with its implementation process. First, let's focus on the environmental impact of aviation sector. The environmental impact of aviation occurs because aircraft engines emit heat, noise, particulates, and gases which contribute to climate change and global warming as well. Airplanes emit particles and gases such as carbon dioxide, water vapor, hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, lead, and black carbon, which interact among themselves and with the atmosphere as well. The most common problem we face because of aviation is pollution. It is of three types: noise, water, and air. If you look at noise pollution, aircraft noise is seen by people as being very hard to get attention and action on. The fundamental issues are increased traffic at larger airports and airport expansion at smaller and regional airports. Water pollution is caused by extensive use and handling of jet fuel, lubricants, and other chemicals, which is also due to the leakage from fuel pipes. Air pollution, if we take, aircraft engines in general combust fuel in an efficient way, and jet also exhaust have very low smoke emissions. However, certain pollutant emissions from aircraft at ground level are increasing with aircraft movements. In addition to that, a large amount of air pollution around airports is also generated by surface traffic. The main pollutant of concern around airport is nitrogen dioxide. Nitrogen dioxide is formed by nitrogen oxide emissions from surface traffic, aircraft, and airport operations. Particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer is also of concern since particulate emissions from jet exhaust are almost all in this fine fraction. Nitrogen oxides in the lower atmosphere contributes to the production of ozone. Ozone in the lower atmosphere is a pollutant and contributes to global warming. Nitrogen oxides from high altitude supersonic aircraft are thought to damage the stratospheric ozone layer, which is a protective layer that filters out the harmful radiation from the sun. And the second most problem is a wildlife disturbance. Airports can impact biodiversity in a number of ways, including loss or degradation of habitats when airports and airfields expand, or deterring or controlling wildlife for operational reasons, and through the effects of light and noise pollution on some species. A bird population can both harm and be harmed by aircraft. The third most problem is health issues, that is, certain gases released by aircraft are poisonous to inhale. People who live within 6 miles of an airport have higher levels of asthma and heart problems. The exposure to carbon monoxide from planes may impact on health. This potential pollutant is thought to occur when planes are taxiing on busy runways. Now let's focus on the analysis of the causes. As I have explained in my previous slides, one of the main reasons is leakage from fuel pipes, and also the business travels and tourists only, most of them who use the aircrafts. And the third most reason is the aircraft dependence on gasoline and jet fuel is in the ratio of 7 is to 3. So here it is obvious that gasoline is used in more proportion. So gasoline, in the process of burning it, it also produces carbon monoxide, a poisonous gas. Nitrogen oxides, a main source of urban smog, and unburned hydrocarbons, the main source of urban ozone. So a gallon of gasoline might release 5 to 6 pounds, that is 2.5 kg of carbon into the atmosphere. And one of the most important reasons is surface traffic like taxis, cabs, buses, etc. also one of the causes. Our pain point in this presentation is air pollution by aviation sector in UAE. So let us see the overview of methodology to estimate the emissions by pollutant. The emissions of air pollutants are estimated by the formula by multiplying emission factors with activity data for each source, where the emission factor is the average emission rate of a given pollutant from a given source relative to the intensity of a specific activity, and the activity data is a measure of the scale of activity providing the emissions. Emissions can be estimated at different levels expressed in three tiers of increasing complexity. The tier 1 is a simple method using already available default emission factors only. The tier 2 method uses either country specific emission factors or default emission factors over a range of different technologies. The tier 3 method uses emission factors that are not only country specific but also differentiated by technology and operating conditions. Tier 3 is the most accurate and complex methodology, while it is easiest to obtain data for Tier 1 method. The methodological choice of a particular source and in a particular country depends on the importance of that source to the level and trend of emissions in that country, as well as on the resources available to prepare the emissions inventory. Throughout the inventory compilation process, the sector experts applied the 2016 European Monitoring and Evaluation Program, European Environment Agency, that is EMEP or EEA guidebook persets on good practice to review and incorporate data gathered in a consistent and accurate manner. Mostly local or national datasets have been used in the inventory. In cases where local or national datasets were not available, information was taken from the international datasets. The inventories were compiled in Excel spreadsheets. In general, there is a spreadsheet for each sector, and within this file, each tab contains a calculation for one or more than one NFR category, that is nomenclature for reporting. So, depending on the complexity on the calculation and the method used. For the simpler calculation, that is Tier 1 and Tier 2 methodology, the default emission factors are obtained from the 2016 EMEP or EEA guidebook and combined with an activity statistic to estimate annual emissions. So, this is how the emissions are estimated. Now, Fayaz will explain about the sustainability reports of aviation sector in Singapore, UK, UAE, based on which solutions are proposed along with the implementation process.
Sustainability initiatives taken by different countries. We have taken Singapore, UK compared to UAE aviation industries, taking in terms of air quality index 0 to 50 regarded as good. Singapore and UK has 25 and 43 respectively, and UAE has maintained to be between 51 to 100, which is moderate. Air pollutants or the carbon emission which is emitted by the aviation are calculated in tons on the basis of takeoff and landing. These emission includes nitrogen oxide and carbon dioxide. UK and Singapore has managed to maintain uh, this well, where they have kept it under 5000 of nitrogen oxide, and the carbon dioxide is around 2800. UA on the other terms, if you see, the nitrogen oxide is double what we have like compared to Singapore and UK, and there are many other emissions. Taking example of carbon dioxide is around 6900. The initiatives taken by Singapore towards SDGs are the demonstration of green flights with reduction of flight times, fuel consumption and carbon emission. UK on the other hand has advanced technology, aircraft which is 53% lightweight carbon fiber and 70% titanium alloys, and few parts are made by 3D printing. They have well maintained electric ground service equipment. UAE has taken the initiatives such as conservation, clean energy projects, circular economic initiatives. The SDGs adopted by these three countries, we can see the common ones are SDGs 8, which is decent work and economic growth, SDG 12, which is sustainable consumption, and SDG 13, which is climatic action. Hello, Dr. Mohan and Dr. Pablo. I am here to give you the recommendation or the solution to prevent air pollution and make environment more sustainable in the aviation industry. First solution would be the advanced aircraft like Boeing 787 Dreamliner. These are the aircrafts which has advanced technology, and the company has to use these aircraft, for flight operation, because there is it composed of composites to 50%, which reduces the weight of the aircraft, and which in turn reduces the fuel consumption and carbon emission from the engine. So airlines should also consider acquiring its good ground equipment that uses natural energy resource in their operations. For example, buses, taxis, and other freights operating at the airport should strictly be powered by natural energies such as solar energy to curb the overall carbon footprint. Second solution would be training staff and employees on environmental issues. The consumption of electricity, waste generation, carbon footprints from catering and the ground service has to be controlled, in order to promote sustainability in the business market. The sustainability awareness program has to implement in the company, and the employees need to be educated about the sustainability practices. Third recommendation would be initiatives like the Environmental Champions program. Training staffs on environmental issues, like using these environment champions program in order to involve them in initiatives related to the environment, like the critical examination of organizations' operations. However, indicates that workers have a limited role in influencing environmental footprint of the company. Solution 4 would be development of environmental policies. Development and application of these particular environmental policies that relate to the sustainable procurement, minimization and management of waste, water and energy efficiency, as well as sustainable ground transport. The purchaser must look towards a company, towards a supplier who makes the sustainable materials and supplies to the aviation industry. Solution 5 would be reduce and manage waste, water and energy. The growth of airline industries creates a fuel demand in the industry, and the steep rise in the price makes the company to invest more, and it affects the economic stability of the company. The recycling of the waste is a solution which has to be promoted by the company to reduce the consumption of organic plastics and other derivatives. Implementation, which means the implementations to the solutions provided in order to promote sustainability and make this earth a better place to live. There are 4 steps to be followed. Step number 1, which is continuously monitoring the air quality. Air quality is an important issue challenging policymakers in both developed and developing nations. International researches has led to the development of air quality guidelines by World Health Organization. Although the industry is working collectively to reduce emission in all phases of flight, the management of this air quality is a local matter overseen by the airports. In this case, the aviation has the opportunity or can implement to make the partnership with other stakeholders, including the local authorities, supporting the principles of government aviation policy framework and promote sustainability. Step 2 is the use of biodegradable materials and creating the awareness to the employers. The employer should be aware of procuring materials. They should engage procurement with suppliers who promote sustainability and sustainable material. Step number 3 is the innovative flights or the fuel efficient engine performance and the maintenance. Aircraft manufacturers should take the initiative to invent new technologies that are environmentally friendly. There is a little that airlines can do in terms of their choices. The main determinant is with the manufacturers of the technology, no matter how efficient the environmental policies by the company may turn out to be. Step number 4 is the use of fuel consumption ratio, which is 25% less in aircrafts, which basically is also an innovation which has been already introduced, that is sustainable aviation fuel. Aircraft must use this type of fuel because it is made up of sustainable raw materials and is the only way to significantly reducing the dependency on fossil kerosene in near term, while supporting the sustainable growth of air travel. Sustainable aviation fuel can create a sustainable future for aviation together. There are a few partners which is involved in this SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel, that is World Energy, Shell Aviation, KLM and Schiphol Group.